Hi everyone, this is Killshot from the 999 Army, and this is The Walking Dead Season 9 teaser trailer, alpha mask revealed, whisper, whose face is it? So many things going on. It is super, super creepy. We are here live tonight. Appreciate all of you guys finding the brand new channel. So this is the third. This is the trilogy, right? So we got 999 Gaming, we got 999 Dead, and we are building up our numbers on the 999 Army. Appreciate each of you guys being here, all the support, everything you guys are doing. We're going to have a pretty detailed chat tonight. Got several topics we're going to talk about. As always, get your thoughts included in this video. And do have a real quick announcement we're going to make. There is so a lot of participation tonight because there is no live stream tomorrow night. And my apologies to all of our international audience. We've been streaming on Saturday mornings. No stream on Saturday morning after tonight. We will be back live noon on Sunday. So we will do a double stream on Monday. So I have a lot of good stuff to talk about. So let's get our fill. Let's get our fill of kills tonight. So I'm going to jump right into it. What is more creepy than Easy Street? It's been a while since we've had that kind of give you goosebumps type of thing. And her putting on this mask and sewing up, I know we got some of the Whisper fans in here. Does she care that it was someone's face at one point? I mean, it is beyond bizarre. This is like Silence of the Lambs bizarre. You know, when he was making the guy eat his own brain, that's like, it's bad enough you die, and then people have to see your face. But it's not your face. It's on someone else, and they're just kind of prancing around. We said this horror element was going to be beyond bizarre. So you guys know we are working up our thresholds on this channel. So if you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe. Once we hit over 1,000 subs, we're going to bounce around to a couple. You're right, Gam. A couple different channels. And super chats are still in the works. YouTube's doing their behind the scenes review. So thanks to all our would-be super chatters. If you guys want a specified question, just type it as a Q&A. I see a lot of comments. I will call on some comments, but if you want to get something that is included, then please do. I did, before we get too far into it, and I want to thank many of you, because several of you, I did a quick poll survey on the 999 Gaming channel and said, hey, just want to let everybody know about these channels. And hopefully you guys don't feel this way. But, this person came out and said, I don't watch 999 Gaming because the only person he ever talks to are the people that super chat. And many of you really stepped up and said, look, we haven't been doing super chats for a couple of weeks, and, there's a lot of interaction. I feel included. If you guys ever don't feel included, shoot me a message, because keep in mind, when our streams grow, and right now you can see 70, 80, 90 people pop in here, I'm not glued into every chat. I'll go through my bullet points, and then I kind of look up, and it's like, hey, Lakeisha says, hey, Crystal, Bumblebee, and Fluff. It's whatever happens to be there at that moment while we're talking about it. So, look, this could have just been a troll, but I appreciate all of you guys just kind of coming to the defense of our group and saying we like to make everybody feel included. All right, I just had to get that off my chest. Now, let's get into what we need to talk about. I love the new name, Mish Puddin'. What's up, Puddin'? Am I the only person that thinks this is Tammy Rose? You know what? I'm just going to throw it out there. My bold prediction. This is Tammy Rose's face. Yeah, no? What do you guys think? I predicted a while back, and some people said, well, kills, that's what happens in the comic. That I think there's going to be a fallout between Earl and Alpha at the fair, and I think she's going to kill Tammy Rose. I don't know if it happened like that in the comic, but just when the whole machete chat came up, and yeah, I thought, blonde hair. Couldn't really tell from the facial features. So, yeah, some people are saying it could be. So, Whisper fans can answer this, or if you guys just want to take a stab, I got to stop. I was going to take a stab at it. What constitutes a skinning and what constitutes a beheading? If you know the answer, yeah, go ahead and type it. If you want to guess, go ahead and guess. And I know the difference, but why would you choose one over the other? Robin, that's not Carol's hair. Carol's hair is extremely gray, not blonde. Okay, I get it, Mystics. I know it depends on the situation. What I'm asking you guys is, what do you think would dictate that situation? Any method to the madness, or you think, hey, I just happen to need a new suit, so I'm going to skin? Or, see, what I would think dictates the skinning, I have a theory on this. It is based on the recruit. So, for example, if Lydia was saying to Daryl, right? No, I don't even know, Tanya, if it's to cause pain. I think it is strictly, it's out of necessity. So, yes, one could be punishment for Earl. Okay, that I agree with. But let's say, for example, Lydia convinced Daryl to join, which she won't. Well, then they're going to need to skin someone, probably, that is around Daryl's size. So I'm going to think, hold on, Viola. Let me get to the point. I know you're not following because I haven't made the point yet. I got to get to it. If Lydia recruited Daryl, then they would need to skin someone that was around Daryl's size. You couldn't have somebody with his head like 3 times bigger than Daryl's head. So I think it's based on practicality. And then the beheading is just, hey, we don't need anybody, but we do need some markers. We need some scarecrows, some things to keep people away. Then go ahead. So I think they're just killing. And then based on what the need is, that's what they do. Yeah. Any Gamma? Mystics? Beta, any of you guys want to chime in on that one? I'm going to jump over to Janet Person. Q&A, Kills. Do you think the Whisperers are evil enough to skin someone when they're still alive? Ooh. Yeah, I do. Because they're not going to be alive very long. That's going to send them into shock. I honestly think this season is going to push the limits. And the next question I have for you is, and please, as many people chime in on this one as possible, how much do you think that they're going to show? How much do you think we'll see with that skinning? How much do you think the audience can handle? And how much is going to be too much for cable? Yeah, just watching that, I'm not just thinking it's a mask. When I see that happening, I'm thinking like, how did the person die before they took the mask? That's my feeling. We got Scott with the Q&A says, do you think that it's going to be like Terminus, in which the Whispers could be done by the middle of the beginning season 10 for shock and plot value? Scott, I think, and I know Gamma's going to love this, I think the Whispers make it 2 full seasons. What do you guys think? I touched on this on one of the previous streams. I don't feel like they're going to waste this opportunity. This has to be the replacement for Rick Grimes. This has to be the diversion. Yeah, I think milk it is an understatement. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with them milking it. I think they deserve to. I think they've earned it. And because the horror element's going to be so good, I'm not anxious to see, all the abusive stuff they do. But I know it can play out a couple different ways. One, it can play out to a point where there's faith and there's hope and people rise to the occasion and fight back. Or if they really, really want to, they could leave them out there. I kind of don't want to see the evil in the world extinguished because there's a lot of evil in the world. And if you continue to kill it all just because it's a television show, here's my thought with the way they'll do it. This was a show 15 years ago, 20 years ago. I think the audience would have needed to see an ending to it. But audiences are more complex now. And the fact that we know that evil is lurking around every corner, I'm okay with that. I mean, there's a certain amount of people that do need closure, right? The Morales fans needed closure. But I don't like, well, it doesn't matter what I like. I'm going to ask what you like. How about that? Did you guys like that Carol burnt all the saviors? And tell me if you did like that or you didn't like it. I'm just kind of curious. Yeah, Luis, you need to get in touch with me so I can give you your prize. A lot of people, okay. I'm fine that you like it. I'm okay with that. Okay. Is there something that you learned in the third grade when there's a fire? Or second grade, or fourth grade, or sixth grade, or something? Exactly. Everybody knows this. Stop, drop, and roll. Okay. There's one Carol. There's gasoline on the ground. Jed could have started screaming and wake up. I mean, Jed was negotiating why she was getting ready to light that. Now, I know many of you, and I don't think any of you would have laid there calmly in a pool of gas while somebody's holding a match. You would have been rolling, running, screaming, get up, move, something. It's a TV show, I understand. Right. So I doubt any of you would have been in that situation. The reason I ask this question is because, to me, that was catering to not an old audience. I'm not putting age on it. To a previous a previous style. They had to kill them all off. So I didn't like the fact that they killed them all off. I'm okay with a few saviors being out there and us asking, like, well, what about them? I mean, we haven't seen the Oceanside, but as soon as you don't see the Oceanside for a couple episodes, the audience wants to know, where's the Oceanside? You got to tell us. Did Michonne kill him? What happened? I don't need the whispers to be that. I don't need 10 people to kill 100 of them, because I just don't see the realism in that. Thomas D says, what if there was one savior coming back from getting water or something and saw what Carol did? Right. So, I mean, there's always a situation. Yeah, Robin, I don't mean, I guess, saviors per se. I mean the evil ones. And I just like The Walking Dead better. And this is personal taste. You don't have to agree with that. I like it better when, look, you kill all the wolves. You kill all the Terminus. You kill off Jadis's people. You kill off most of the governor's people. You kill off all the bad saviors. And in the whispers, you're going to get to a point where you kill off all the bad whispers. It's just not realistic that these people just hang around until they're completely exterminated. And there's not somebody still out there that can come back and sort of haunt you. It's one thing Fear does well, right? They got Daniel, they got Troy, they got Proctor John. Fear kind of learned from it, I guess, to a degree. But The Walking Dead, they just want to kill everybody. Mystic says, Kills asked this to the group as well to you. If you were in The Walking Dead coming in as a new character, what's your weapon of choice? It's a good question. I mean, it's an easy one for me. But I'm going to ask the group. If you're a new character, what's your weapon? Hockey stick? Okay. It's creative. Machete. Eric C says a sledgehammer. Everybody likes the hockey stick. Butterfly knives, switchblade. All right, I mean, my personal answer would be a crossbow. And, you know, I'd always have a ton of arrows. I'm not a big fan with the whole, when there's walkers involved. The whole hand-to-hand, you know, I'd rather not get close enough to use a knife. There's always that chance, right? That, you know, you get about a foot away, there's always that chance. I would rather, I'd rather have some range. Yeah, you know, I think it's a great question. It'll probably take us extremely off topic. This is probably one of those for random things. That's almost like a super chat. Yeah, Julia, here's the problem with the Colt Python. You run out of bullets. So, no firearm is a good choice. And I would also say one of the best things you could have, and I don't think they do a good enough job of recycling things, would be empty cans. Empty cans would be my alarm clock. It wouldn't matter where I would be at. I would just have like these cans and this string and about, I don't know, 50 feet all the way around. I would just, you know, have this little device that if any walker crossed over it, it would set off an alarm. It'd be like my own personal walker thing. And you always have to have an escape route. Yeah, I've planned this out. I've given a lot of thought to it. Two knives and brass knuckles. I don't know. I don't think you want brass knuckles fighting walkers. You know, you got to have something. Okay, I'm going to get to a couple more bullet points because hopefully you've all seen the teaser and you're all really creeped out by it. Many people sent it to me right away like, check this out. Yeah, I mean, Viola, you certainly could. But, yeah, you could be in my group. The other thing is high ground. Walkers aren't climbing. You you pretty much need a treehouse. Wouldn't be that hard to build. All right. I'm going to move over to Scott's Super Chat. Where do you think Season 11 should go after the Whispers are done? Is Maggie with the Commonwealth? It's a good question. It really depends. I don't think they want to play their hand with the Commonwealth just yet, Scott, because we don't know how long the Whispers are going to be there. We don't know who's going to die. We don't know what the audience is going to feel with that. We don't know what new characters are going to be introduced. I'm not saying between now and the next, by season 11, it's going to take about 3 years worth of filming, 2.5 years. There could be some more innovative ideas that are out there. It's just really tough to predict it. But I do honestly think we got 2 full years worth of Whispers, and there's just going to be some major people leaving. Julia, I agree with that. This teaser to me was like a scary clown movie meet Silence of the Dead or Silence of the Lambs. Silence of the Dead. There we go. We could hashtag that. It's going to be a brand new movie. The eeriness and the horror and someone that is that smart, and Alpha does appear to be very intelligent, very calculated, but that dark and that soulless is just not a good combination. Yeah, Mystics, I think even before the border scene, I think something's going to go down at the fair that is really going to set the tone. Actually, even before the fair, I feel like it's going to be Alden and Luke that when they're surrounded, people are going to know. I can't even think of a situation that's not going to have people on the edges of their seat. Look, Alden and Luke probably get taken. Daryl in a fight with Beta. Alpha making an exchange. Alpha probably crashing the party at the fair, maybe taking someone out there. People being decapitated. Daryl, Michonne, Carol being helpless. Henry. There's so many things that are going to be just like nothing we've ever seen before. And I don't. I'm not. I think she's introduced in 132. And once I get there, we will do some deep dive into it. I think that they're just a sick cult type of group. I don't know. There's always a reason why people are what they are. And, sometimes knowing the reason is overkill. I mean, sometimes it's fine just to say that they're just dark. They just don't have souls. But, you know, when you guys think of the governor, what do you think of? What sticks in your mind with the governor? TV show governor. Let me clarify. When you think of TV show governor, what do you think about? Like what scene? No, not to describe him. When you think of TV show governor, what's the one scene that defined him? So a lot of people saying fish tank. I think Herschel. When I think of the governor, I think of Herschel. So look, it's 50-50. Some people are saying aquarium, some people are saying Herschel. Either way, but there's a couple defining moments, right? So when you think of comic book governor, what do you think about? What stands out more than anything? And I can't get it out of my mind. Yeah. What he did to Michonne was, I mean, there's nothing that's compared to that. And that, now, when you think about comic book Michonne, what do you think about? And there's a lot to think about. So, okay, fair enough, all are lovers. When I think about comic book Michonne, I think about what she did with the spoon. What she did to him, and it still didn't make up what he did to her, but I got to be honest. It was much, much easier for me to read what she did to him than what he did to her. And if you haven't read it and you haven't seen it, then yes. But her revenge was very, very, she did some stuff. I mean, some serious stuff. And it was all fine. So here's my point. So when you think of Terminus, what stands out to you in Terminus? Yeah, and if you guys have not read the comics, I'm up to like 108. So if you got 5-10 minutes, you can just check out the channel and go back and listen to some of them. I do the work for you. The throat cutting, right? Okay, last question. And you'll see where I'm going with this. What was Negan's defining moment? All right, don't give me the alpha Negan scene, because I don't think that's a defining moment. When you think of Negan, what was his big moment? No doubt about it, right? Comic book was Glenn. TV show, Abe and Glenn. But that's Negan. So here's the problem that I see with Alpha, and it's a good problem. I don't think Alpha's going to have a defining moment. This is why, and I said this a year ago, they have the opportunity to make her so much more evil than the governor, than Negan, than the people in Terminus. I don't think there's going to be a defining moment. I think there's going to be a whole collection of like, oh my God moments where it is just torture and violence and beheading and skinning and killing and just unfiltered violence. I don't even think the Fair Mystics is going to be a defining moment. I think because, as you guys brought up just a minute ago, the border scene. Some people are going to say the border scene. Some people are going to say, there's probably going to be 4 or 5 that are just going to be like mind-blowing moments. And Scott, in the comic, Scott's Q&A says, the Pike scene was infamous because she beheaded all 8 of them. So I do think that's going to play into it. And I think that's going to be big. But I just think we're going to accept everything she does as you can't let your guard down for a second. Even in the comic, from what there are moments, and I haven't read it, 132 to 154, wherever she's at, like 20-something issues. But I think there were twisted moments in the comic, but there were moments where they scaled it down a little bit. And I don't think they're going to scale it down on the TV show. I think they're going to scale down the sexual abuse, but I don't think they're going to scale down the violence. And I think they're going to compensate for all of the other stuff with extra violence. Angie, I agree with that. Angie Homan says, I'm not sure if I'm strong enough for the Whispers. I almost buckled with Glenn's execution. Let me ask this question. More visual and vivid than Glenn, or less vivid than the Glenn scene, but more implied? Hopefully I asked that the right way. I don't think it's going to be as graphic as what happened to Glenn, but I think there's going to be a lot more of it. Yeah, I don't think they could get away with another Glenn scene. I really don't. Honestly, I'm surprised that they got away with as much of the Glenn and the Abraham as they did. So, where you see Glenn and you see Glenn's face, and look, they couldn't show it for a long period of time because it was very graphic. But I don't think you're going to see a lot of the skinning, although on Fear the Walking Dead, they were starting, right? It kind of gave you the idea, the scalping and maybe the face cutting was going to happen. But I don't think, look, I don't have a timer. And I'm sure it takes a little bit of time in order to make those wonderful masks that she has. And I'm sure if it were to happen while they were alive, that would be too much suffering. People aren't going to watch that. And even hearing it is enough. So, they can only show a few seconds of that type of thing. But you couple that with somebody getting stabbed, several people getting beheaded, then I think the second half is just going to be violence to a whole different level. All right, I'm going to jump around and read a couple comments. I got a few more bullet points that I want to get into. Tammy Heitzman says, I'm wondering if they can get away with more violence if they show more with characters we're not attached to. Tammy, I don't think who the character is going to affect the graphic nature of what they show. And I don't have all the parameters, but there's some things that go beyond. And then if they're getting close to going beyond, it's like, what can they say? If they can get away with, say, drop an F-bomb or showing a naked walker. I mean, obviously you can show a naked walker, but you can't show a naked Rick Grimes. I mean, there's things that they can push. You can show some of the violence, but maybe you get 5 seconds of it before it's just going to be, I mean, you can't show 20 seconds of someone being skinned. But what you can do is you can overall just show a lot more of it happening. Yeah, I'm gonna hop around, catch a couple more comments. Scott says, but kills cannot be torture porn. It's going to be a different element, that's for sure. But if you do too much of it, then you totally get away from the story. I mean, they've got to have a mix of hope, a mix of horror. If you're all torture and all despair, and there's no hope, then people are going to be like, well, what's up with our heroes? Which is why the Negan story is such a beautiful story. Because you're going to have someone who was a former villain probably be the savior. He's going to be the hero, literally and figuratively, but he's going to earn his title. But back to what we talked about 20 minutes ago, it's just going to be a little corny if you kill them all. If Negan comes in and kills them all, then I just don't think that's realistic. I would just like to have them creeping out there a little bit. And maybe, look, in 11, they regroup. A few of them come back. Bigger, stronger than ever. Hey, we remember them. Thought we got most of them, but nope, they got out. Maybe you do end up getting a retreat as opposed to a victory. Phyllis says, do you think they will go so far as to show Daryl skinning a walker and wearing it to spy on the Whispers? So Phyllis, I have not heard that. So what I heard is that Daryl, spoiler information, spoiler? All right, well, I'm going to tell you. I mean, it's already out there. I heard Daryl kills one of them and takes their suit. That he didn't skin a walker. Deborah Cox says, how can they blend in with the walkers with clean-skinned faces where normally you have to be smeared in blood in order to walk among them? It's a good question. I don't know the death pheromones that a person's skin or a person's body or the decomposition So maybe it's just one of those things where the blood kind of fends them off, but maybe the decomposing skin. You're asking me to go way too much into biology to figure this one out. I would say the decomposing skin is what tricks the walkers, if I had to guess. There's some things I don't want to know the answer to. So, and I'll wait for a couple more super chats because I want to get more of your comments included into this. And if I don't call on you, keep in mind, your comments are a part of this video. So, anybody watching the playback, if you guys are watching the playback, make sure you respond to some of these comments. And if you guys want to go back and read the comments after the video, go back and comment on people that are commenting on your comment. So, yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's hard to talk about, isn't it? I mean, I'm sure if you skin somebody's face or you skin their body and you're wearing that around, you're going to have to get immune to the smell of it. Some little cotton balls stuck up your nose or something. I could not survive in that type of environment. You know, I don't think I would want to survive in that type of. I would just volunteer. I don't want to walk around as a walker either. So maybe Carl had it all figured out. But here's what I'll say to tie into the violence. Major events that are going to go down. The fair. The capture. The baby scene. Alpha skinning. Alpha potentially killing a boyfriend and girlfriend because of the baby. The border scene. Alpha torturing and showing she has the upper hand over the leaders. Very Negan-esque. And I'll tell you why. Some of you are going to disagree with this. So I'm going to name these 4 deaths. And I know one of them, some people are going to say, oh man, that crushed me. None of these 4 deaths affected me in the slightest bit. As a matter of fact, after they happened, we did live streams, and nope, didn't affect me one tiny bit. Sasha, Carl, Simon, and Jesus. Those 4 deaths, and I know some of you are going to say, oh, really kills Carl? That was so sad what happened to Carl. It didn't bother me at all. It wasn't that I disliked Carl. It just, the only thing that affected me with Carl was the impact it had on Rick. The impact it had on I didn't even like Enid. I don't like Enid. But, you know, Enid breaking down, that type of thing. Sasha, Carl, Simon, and Jesus, nothing. And the Glenn and Abraham, something. So I think The Walking Dead needs to get back to the audience, at least me. I mean, because I can only speak for myself. The audience feeling a loss when people die. The audience feeling like hopeless and helpless and you know, maybe the Sasha scene didn't bother me because, well, she killed herself. And she did it to help other people. All right, there's a bigger picture. So, The Carl scene didn't bother me because, well, he killed himself. And he was the one, really, that was supposed to be responsible for ending the war. So there's a bigger picture. So I didn't really feel like it was a loss in either situation. Simon. Well, Simon just murdered all of Jadis's people. So Negan kills Simon because it's for the bigger picture. It shows Negan's transformation. And Jesus was just out there showing off, and he got careless. And the Jesus death didn't really bother me either. And look, you guys can say, well, look, you're just cold. You did the Walking Dead video, and when Lee died, you didn't cry in the video. I understand. But the Glenn scene, because of what he did to Glenn and the way he did it to Glenn and the way it left Maggie completely alone and helpless, and as an audience, everybody was completely defense. You had no defense. There's nothing you could do. So you could kill, and trust me when I say this, okay? You could kill Tammy Rose and take her face and use it as a mask. And the fact that you just destroyed Earl's life, this person that's been an alcoholic, just went through all this stuff, and you just tortured his wife, and you're going to prance around with her face on, if that is her face, to me, would be back to being sad again. That would be back to being... It's not the character. It's not that I'm so attached and been through this person's journey. That may be where we disagree. That may be the difference between me and some of you is, well, Glenn was there for a long time, and that's why you miss Glenn. That's not why I miss Glenn. It wasn't because I was attached to Glenn. Because if so, I would have felt the same way with Carl. So if Tammy was a innocent person, or she was struggling and somebody had the upper hand and used their power to control someone, that would be more despicable to me. And I'll bring up the same point with Henry. If Carol, many of you will say, well, if Carol died, I'm going to be heartbroken because I love Carol. But I don't. I like Carol. But if Henry died and I saw the impact and Carol was helpless to do anything about it, to me, the Henry death could be just as powerful as a Carol death. Because it's the circumstance. I'm going to be in the moment. And like I said, we can disagree. Like Pickle says, Carl was the worst. Carl being at church killing himself did nothing. But the Rick and Michonne, when you heard the gun and you saw them shake, that was the moment. And I know it was like split seconds and we're probably splitting hairs. But Carl went out on his terms. The people that go out, and he kind of prepared for it. So that's kind of the point I'm trying to make. And I can't really fully articulate it for you. All I can say is, if it plays out that way, you'll know. You'll know what I'm talking about. The Jesus death could have been so much better, in my mind. Once again, I'll ask you, were you guys happy with the way the Jesus thing went down? He was doing a little bit of martial arts, spun around, and, he got stabbed. I would have done it so much different. Like, I gave you guys what I thought was a really good scenario. I wanted it to be like a Billy Jack type of scene. Not just a... kind of like that. That was my sound effects. That's a sound, I guess, if you get like stabbed in the back. It's like like a breath. That's the way. If somebody asked me how Jesus died, I would just give that sound, and that would describe it. Yeah, right, Willani? You blink and he's gone. Like, wait, I got to go back and watch that again. That just happened? So, if those moments happen, so I don't know who it was that asked earlier, I think it was Tammy Heitzman, said, if it's a certain character, if it's a lesser character, could they be more graphically violent? Then the answer to me is no. And that's why I think that when you get to 8 Pikes, if they go with 8 Pikes, 6, what we would say minor characters, depending on how they die, could have a very major impact. Because it's going to affect the audience much, much differently. There were 11 people in the lineup. And they were all somewhat major-ish characters with Negan. So, is there anybody here that could have set through Negan beating down 11 people with a baseball bat? Anybody thinks that you'd have been like, hey, hold on, I'm going to watch this twice. Let me go back and get some more popcorn. Well, clearly a Whisperer would. And yeah, there's a few hardcore graphic horror fans that definitely would. But for the most part, people are going to say no. But couldn't Alpha, like, beheading and torturing 8 people, couldn't that be like Negan beating down all of those people with a bat? And this is where I think Alpha's unpredictability is going to be such a shock for the audience. Like, she could have 8 people there and be like, I'm just going to kill all 8. I don't need anybody to see this, except my people need to understand that I'm still going to do this. Or she could say, I'm going to have these 3 people tied up, and you're going to watch me do it. A, because I enjoy it, but number 2, I'm just going to steal your soul away from you, not because I want you to fear me, but because I just want to destroy you. So I'm either going to destroy you physically, or I'm going to destroy you mentally, or in the case of maybe killing Henry, I'm going to destroy you emotionally. So Gamma, Omnicron, Mystics, all the Whispers we have here. Do I have a pretty good gauge of Alpha's character? I mean, for someone that doesn't really know her, I feel like I understand her. But I do have to say, and this is where it all comes crashing down almost all the time. May not happen with the Whispers, but we know what happened to Negan, and it's the fatal flaw, is absolute power corrupts absolutely. I mean, when you get to a point where no one can stop you, and you get that bloodlust, and you keep on and on and on, you're going to have revolt. You're going to have the fear factor works, but you can never. People are either going to give up. They're going to follow you blindly, or they're going to give up and they're not going to follow anything, or they're going to spot a weakness. And if they have the opportunity and they spot the weakness, that's where they're going to revolt, and that's where you'll see kind of the comeback nature. But I would not expect that very fast. I thought Negan's reign of power I thought it was short-lived. And, I'm just wondering how much of the Andrew Lincoln leaving really tied into Carl leaving, which really tied into we got to get Negan, back and get him locked up and move on with the story. I'm thinking that there was just some rush that went into that. And there probably could have been a little bit more Negan and a little bit, didn't have to be as graphic as fast, but it didn't have to end as fast either. And I do feel like the Whisper story, I think they're going to do it right. I really do. If they only do it for about a season, which is going to be the back half and the front half, then to me they've wasted it. So I've got one question for the Army, because we asked this the other night. Many of you weren't here, but I had you go through and rate the worst villains, and many of you said Negan and the governor. So after watching this teaser, how many people are afraid and realize this is going to be by far the darkest, worst villain we have ever seen on The Walking Dead? Let me know. If you don't think so, put a no. But I'm going to tell you, from what I've heard, what I heard from, we got a great comic following here. And then I think the teaser just validated that. It's pretty exciting. It's pretty exciting to look forward to. So yeah, I'm seeing a lot of Alpha number 1. A lot of people say I'm not ready for it. And some people said, well, if Rick dies, if somebody dies, we're going to need therapy. So what we will do is we will make sure, and I think this is going to happen on a weekly basis, is we will have our weekly therapy session, whether it's Henry, whether it's Tammy Rose, whether it's Ezekiel, whether it's whatever the case may be. I do think in the second half, death is going to be very, very common. So let me know if you agree with that. Pike the like button if you had a good time tonight and you like talking about The Walking Dead. I want to thank all of you guys for being a part of the 999 Army. We've got Whisper fans here. We got Negan fans here. We got Daryl fans here. The thing that's so awesome about our group is I love all the different perspectives. And even if you're a fan of a different person on the show, you add insight to something else that we may not know. And I've learned a lot from our Whisper fans. So you guys are absolutely incredible. We will not stream tomorrow night. We're also not going to stream on Saturday morning. So the next time, enjoy the next couple days off. Have a good time, everybody. I will talk to you before the holiday. We will stream at noon on Sunday. And I'm not sure which channel we're going to stream on next week. We might be back to 999 Dead. But as I mentioned in the beginning of this, we want to get to thresholds because it is kind of a slow season for The Walking Dead. It's nice, some teasers, some new news come out. But it was just in time for us to develop all these channels. We've had such a good fun with the 999 Gaming channel, and we had such a nice boost with 999 Dead. We're going to get this over 1,000 subs, and then we're good. Then we're not going to focus on any other channels. We're just going to have some conversations on each one of these. Appreciate everything that you guys do. If you're watching the playback, this is the closing credits. Give me a quick 999 so I can do as many shout-outs as we possibly can at the end of this video. And if I ever miss you in a shout-out, then just make sure to shoot me a message. Those people that won on the caption contest, I've heard from 3 people. Lewis, if you can shoot me a messenger or a kick message so I can get you your gift card as well. And we will have another caption contest that's going to start up next week once we get through the holidays. So I want to say thank you first and foremost to all the patrons in the top left-hand corner. The patrons sponsor through a third-party website, and they're the ones that make the advertising on the channel possible and also the contest and events. So thank you so much to all those people up in the top left-hand corner. Also, top right-hand corner are the sponsors. They do the same thing. They're supporting this channel, and also the moderators, Emmy, Steph, Tommy, Kells, all the super chatters that are on standby waiting to super chat. It will be turned on 999 Dead very soon, and it'll also be turned on here. So you'll get a chance to get your super chat going back on. And super big shout out to all the 999 Army. So I want to say what's up to Chris Riddle, also to Julia Drums, Julia Muse, Deborah Cox. You know what? Negan, thank you for being here. Dark Star Killer. Najee Watts, thank you. Lee George. Lisa Khaleesi, Edwin Gonzalez. Janet Person, Tammy Hill. Puddin' True, thank you. Gamma. Kimberly M. Bumblebee Brown. Angie Homan. Robin Vance. Omicron. Northside Queen, thank you. Walani, have a good night. Thank you, Cammie. DDA, Ohio. And I'm seeing a lot more people here in tonight's stream. So glad that you guys found it. Sorry to, give you the runaround 3 different channels, but that's it. There's only going to be 3 channels. So hit the bell on each one of them and you will be notified. And also post it on the Facebook fan page. Holly Pierce, thanks for being here. Randy Walden, thank you so much. Jay Irons, thank you. Crystal, the singer chick, Gore, have a good night. Leanne Gash, Eric C. Hey, appreciate you too, man. Thank you. I'm going to hang out for a couple more minutes, get a couple more shout-outs up in here. Thanks, Lee. Have a good night too, man. You fell 12. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Sheila Mack, have a good night. Kathy Parker, thank you. Lucky Louie, what's up, Louie? I like all the Santa emojis. Beta, the chosen one. Shout me out or else. You got it, man. Thanks, Pickles. Have a good night. Sam B, thank you. Star Guitar Goddess, thank you, Star. Yeah, Randy, just as a reminder to everybody, once you guys are subbed, go to the main channel, either 999 Gaming, 999 Dead, 999 Army. There's a little bell. Hit that bell, and you'll get a notification whenever we live stream. Usually you get it an hour in advance, so you'll know. But a safe bet is usually during the week, Monday through Thursday, except for when we're around the holidays, obviously. 9:30 is a good time. And then Saturday mornings, we've been doing 11 o'clock, Sunday 12 o'clock in the morning, or 12 noon, and then 8 o'clock at night. So pretty static times unless there's an event or a holiday or something going on. Ron Burgundy Moore, thank you. Have a good night. And with that, I am going to wind down. You guys enjoy your 2 days off. I will see everybody here on this channel at noon on Sunday. Jason, mixologist, I see you getting in the door right at the very end. All right, everybody, have a good night. Peace.